Hello, and welcome to the Lucy Liu Show, the fueling station for your mind, business, and life. And now, here's your host, Lucy Liu.
Hello, beautiful souls. Thank you for tuning in into another episode. I am here to remind you today that you are entitled to live a calm life full of joy and order. You will set realistic goals, remembering that your first priority is yourself. Today on the show, I invited Bernadette Marciniak. She is a brand photographer for small business owners and entrepreneurs who create and inspire. She works with a lot of coaches, strategists, CEOs to help them hone in on their brand and create powerful imagery to deploy their message in their marketing. Enjoy this conversation. Thank you so much, Bernadette, for being here with us today.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Awesome. So, what is brand photography and how is it different from regular photography?
So I get this question a lot, and I have actually worked in a lot of different areas of photography, and each area comes with a different type of strategy, whether it's knowing the ins and outs of a newborn shoot and how to, schedule it around a newborn sleeping schedule, or how to swaddle and pose, to a wedding photographer where you have to orchestrate the schedules of the day. Brand photography is a branch of photography that specifically caters to business owners and entrepreneurs. It dives deep into the whys of somebody's business, the hows and the whats, like their daily rituals, and translating that into powerful imagery. It's also being familiar with the places brand photography is needed. Not all brand photography is created equal. Some of it is for a steady stream of social content for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Other times it's for a course launch and needing images to go with an online course. But what business owners need to remember when they hire a brand photographer is that they're not hiring somebody to just take pretty pictures. They're hiring somebody to help them figure out the story that they want to tell to their audience so that it creates a cohesive message and elevates the way their business is seen. Personal belief is that if you don't have professional images, you're not a professional business. And I say this, I know I sound a little bit biased, but I say this as a photographer who was using cell phone images on their social feed to promote my business just a year ago. If you look at the progression that I've taken in the past year, it's crazy. And I wasn't getting very far with that last year. And it wasn't until I started taking my business seriously and started presenting it in a professional, polished manner that my audience around me started seeing me in that light.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. How is working with a branding photographer different from working with a branding coach or branding consultant? Because we see so many branding strategists out there.
Right. Well, for me, in a perfect situation, it all goes hand in hand. You hire a brand coach or consultant to dig deep into the message that you want to be putting out there, what values you want to be known for, what kind of aesthetic you want your brand to have across all boards. That includes graphic design, a logo, like fonts that you're going to be using, the messages that you're going to be putting out there, and the type of photos that you are going to want to have. That being said, my photography sessions come with a consulting on just the images, and so I help you create that aesthetic. But as far as color palettes and stuff like that, that's where a branding coach or strategist would come in.
So would you suggest they would already have some sort of branding imagery or a direction where they're going before working with a branding photographer?
I would definitely say it's a good idea. That being said, I know so many people who it really depends on what is a priority for you in how you're presenting your business. I know coaches who don't even have a website and they're doing just fine, but they are using social media as an avenue to put their message out there. And in that case, you can get what you need with a brand photographer, the consulting that is going to happen before. It also depends on what each person offers and what they say they're going to help you with.
So who do you think branding photo shoot is best for?
So for me, I mean, it really depends. A brand shoot can work for anyone who wants to put a polished feel behind their brand. The clients that I work with tend to be entrepreneurs who've been in business for a couple of years, have figured out the direction they want their business to go in, and are ready to put that vision of a high-class, polished entrepreneur out there that shows that they're serious about their business. I wouldn't necessarily advise a newbie entrepreneur to get a brand photo shoot done, or at least not one that's going to, break the bank for you. I think your money can be spent better elsewhere to get your grounding and your footing to figure out what story you want to be telling in the first place. So in that case, I think a brand strategist or a brand coach would be a good first step.
Thank you. So why, in your opinion, is branding important?
Branding is important because your vibe attracts your tribe. And so when you're creating a brand, it shows your audience who you really are. Markets and industries are so saturated nowadays. Even like if you're not a coach, of which I can count an infinite number, just the space of offering something for other business owners, it's all very saturated in my opinion. And so you really have to showcase your characters and your values. The great thing about having a personal brand or a brand is that it almost like doesn't matter what you're selling. People are going to buy it because it's yours and you've created it. And so that makes it easier to also shift gears later on if you want to expand, if you want to add services onto your brand, or if you're just going to change direction completely. The most important thing to remember about a brand is that if you're not controlling the conversation around yours or creating a conversation about yours, it's being done for you. Even if you're staying quiet and not saying anything, not putting anything out there, or very rarely doing it, that says something to your audience. And so it's better to create that culture, that conversation that shows who you really are and who your clients and audience are going to be buying from, to get them excited to create this hype around what you do. And it's also my opinion that people just love to watch everyone else around them follow their dreams and succeed and all of that good stuff. If you're joining in that conversation, you're going to have more support than crickets to begin with. And so it's just like it's a good, empowering culture to create.
I love that. I do agree with you. And that consistency is so important.
Yeah, it really, really is. When I started doing photography full time, I had actually just moved to Los Angeles from New Jersey. I had been doing wedding photography beforehand, but I was kind of feeling defeated that I wasn't getting farther and faster. And it was because I wasn't showing up. I wasn't showing people what I've done. I wasn't humble bragging. And how are people going to know what you're doing or what you're about if you're not putting it out there? That's another important reason to create, that conversation constantly, is that you're going to be at the forefront of everybody's mind when that service is needed. If you are a wedding cake baker, if you're not constantly showing your beautiful designs or tips and tricks, somebody comes along looking for a wedding cake, and your audience is not going to know to send them along to you. They're going to go somewhere else, to the person who has been putting that information out. I think it's super important. I know it's hard and it feels weird, but once you get the hang of it, it's fun. And the support that you get from it is it's big.
I absolutely resonate with what you said. And I also believe that self-promotion is a skill that we can practice and learn, which is also why I hold my virtual workshops called I Am Remarkable, where I empower women to step up for themselves. And what we say is it's not bragging if it's based on the truth. So
ooh, I like that. I like that. It's not bragging if it's based on the truth. I'm gonna have to use that.
Exactly. Okay, so can you walk us through what do you need to prepare for before a branding photo shoot?
Sure. So when a client signs on with me, I onboard them with a shower of virtual hugs and stuff like that, but also with a welcome packet that will dive deep into their brand, asking those questions: who you are, what your business is, why you do it, because that's very important. Why you feel called to do what you're doing, and the daily rituals around it. And from then on, it's not going to be the same for everybody, especially if they've already answered that part of their business and had a brand shoot, and they're now focused on getting a brand shoot done for, let's say, a course or something like that. And so we decide where we're going to do the shoot. It's going to be either in their home, in their space, or on location. I just got done with a brand shoot on location in New York City. And with the on location shoots, we decide, what stories they want to be telling. And so I kind of map out for them where we're going to go and why. If it's on site, they get an extensive list of things to do before the shoot. The most important thing on that list is to clean your space. I can't tell you how many times it kind of slows things down when specks of dust get picked up by lenses very, very easily. And so I say, wipe it all down, put things away, don't make it look like it's barren, but definitely kind of temporarily Marie Kondo your space so that it doesn't look like a disaster zone. And then I also encourage my clients to get professional services like hair and makeup done, because it makes a huge difference, even if that's not really your look normally. And if you're going to hire the right hair and makeup artist, they will maintain that natural look, and it'll look so much better in your photos. So it's just a little, a little bit of digging deep into your business and logistics, and, it all comes together.
Awesome. So what are some mistakes you see entrepreneurs make with their photos?
So, oh my gosh, my heart is already breaking. The mistakes that I see happen are usually more on the technical side. I see a lot. I actually provide my clients with both high-res and web-res images, and the mistakes I see made there are them not being used correctly, or not being used, like high-res images being used when it should be web-res, and vice versa. Using high-res images on your website is a big no-no, because it slows down the load time and you're turning potential customers away. On the other side of things, if you're sending web-res images to print, then it kind of defeats the purpose of having a quality photo shoot done, because the images are going to come out pixelated. And I educate my clients as best I can after I deliver the photos, and tell them when to use each resolution and why. Also, the one big mistake that I see so many people do is taking screenshots of their images from their phones and putting them online, and it just ruins the quality. Or if they take a screenshot and they send it to the press or something like that. And so I try to teach my clients not to do that as best as I can. But the biggest mistake is not using them at all. And I also have clients who have done that. So you'll get a check-in from me about every month being like, hey, haven't seen you use them.
Okay. So what do you do when you need a mindset reset in your life?
Oh my gosh, I have been doing that all year long. I feel like mindset reframes are the reason that I've gotten my business to grow as much as it did this year. Honestly, it comes down to reading the right books and listening to podcasts, especially if somehow the universe is delivering all this content to me when I need it. And so when I'm feeling defeated by some area of my business, I will just sign on to the podcast app and see that the answer to my question is right there with either Jenna Kutcher, of course, she's my favorite, or something else. Aside from that, I'll take a break, take a bath. That's a big one. I love to hike. And yeah, it's really just about catching yourself. When I hear a negative thought coming through my mind, being like, okay, this isn't the right way to frame it. Let's figure out how to say it differently, or how to think about it differently, so that you're not approaching something with a negative mindset.
Absolutely. Flipping the script, right?
Exactly. I feel like that's all I've been doing all year long. And it's made so much of a difference.
Absolutely. And I understand you also also have a business coach, and that's where we met at a one-day retreat and the business women's event. How has working with a coach helped you?
It keeps me accountable. She gets on my case, starts to mention some sort of limiting belief where I have dragged my feet on something that I, have been saying I was going to do for a while. I really think it's that accountability and a fresh set of eyes on what you're doing to help guide you.
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. What is your favorite quote at the moment?
So actually, it's been my favorite quote all year long, because even when I was doing those cell phone photos as there's a very well-known health and wellness coach named Angie Lee, and I don't know if it's her quote, but I've seen her say it a million times, to just keep showing up. And, I preach approaching your business with strategy, but I know sometimes the strategy is just not there. And people use that as an excuse to stop showing up. And then it becomes one day, a week, a month. I just keep showing up. And sometimes it's the stuff that I post or share with my audience that has no strategy that resonates with them the best, which makes me believe that I'm still on the right track.
I love that. I did a past episode on that. I believe finding excuse is actually a form of self-sabotage.
It absolutely is. Absolutely. So I've been working very hard. I have a tendency to try and talk myself out of things, and I just have to keep telling myself, nope, this is not what we're doing this time around, because we've done that, been there, and it has gotten us nowhere. So
absolutely. If you resonate with Bernadette, please, where can our listeners connect with you online?
So I am on Instagram, just my name, Bernadette Marciniak. You can find my website, BernadetteMarciniak.com.
I'll make sure to include your info in the show notes so everyone knows how to spell your last name as well.
Yeah. And the first name.
Awesome. Thank you for your time here with us today.
Thank you so much, Lucy. I appreciate it.
To all the beautiful souls listening, thank you for joining me on this episode of The Lucy Liu Show. When I'm not podcasting, I am coaching high-achieving women in life transitions, getting unstuck, kissing overwhelm goodbye, and living a more joyful and fulfilled life through strategic goal setting and mindset transformation. It would mean the world to me if you subscribe, rate, or share this with a friend. And don't forget to join me for the next episode. Remember, there is always a way, and more blessings are coming your way. For free resources and show notes, head over to LucyLuCoaching.com.